All right, Shalom. We're the Hebrew Israelites. Come out here week in and week out to prophesy the downfall of the third Babylon, aka America. But first and foremost, I want to say Call Halayim, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Harachachdash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, where I learned this truth from, and who rule well. Salutations to the Bakiyar, the elect, the 144,000. That's 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. 12 tribes of Israel consist of you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. 144,000 being the governing body within the 1/3. The rest of the 1/3 comprises of elect men, women, and children. Shalom to those Israelites scattered due to the diaspora, also the triangular trade. So our people come looking like different ethnicities, having various complexions. It's not a black thing. We're not the black Hebrew Israelites. We're just Hebrew Israelites. Shalom to those that die in this truth. It says the dead should be raised up first. Those that will be accompanying Yahweh Shah on his return, including our King Mashah, who is King David. And as always, it's an honor and privilege, honor and blessing to continue to do this work. The water Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah for answering my prayers and permitting me to do such. Baba Kashah Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah allowed us to be an edifying camp to at least one member of the elect. So this is Psalms chapter 91, verse 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High, which the name of the Most High is Yahweh, which means he exists. For all you individuals that think the Bible's a fairy tale, and his son's name is Yahweh Shai, which means he saves or he delivers, which you people ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. You know, it says, shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. So you dwelling in the secret places, you dwelling in his truth, his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Because it says in Isaiah the 33rd chapter, the 6th verse, wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times. While the world is plunged into chaos, these people are going to be unstable, man. They're not going to know what to do, man. You know, but us knowing this truth and being moved by the Spirit and protected by the unseen world, which if we are allowed to see, you'll see the angels, which Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah is going to give his angels charge over the elect. Verse 2, it says, I will say of Yahweh, he is my refuge and my fortress, my power, in him will I trust. And once he puts you through enough things, you know, you start to have that unwavering trust, man. You just let, as you see on certain bumper stickers maybe, or certain things that people say, let God take the wheel. Well, eventually that's what you do. You just let Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah take the wheel, man. This is Psalms chapter 27, verse 5. For in the time of trouble, he shall hide me in his pavilion. You know, and if I'm not, well, let me look up that word pavilion, just so I don't get the wrong definition, because my, large tent with pillows and, you know, hammocks and canopies, and, you know, they serving some ice cold tea, you know, a place of tranquility, right? But from Etma Online, the word pavilion, early 13th century pavilion or pavilion, large stately tent raised on posts and used as a movable habitation. Large tent or butterfly, you know? Continuing in Psalms 27, verse 5, it says, in the secret of his tabernacle, which tabernacle meaning house, shall he hide me, he shall set me up upon a rock. Right, man. It says, and now shall my head be lifted up above my enemies round about me. But we have a lot of enemies, man. You know, whether it be family members, whether it be significant others, whether it might be your children, whether it might be your friends, so-called, that were in the world, where it might even be individuals in this truth, man. The elect are always going to have a lot of enemies, man, because that's the way Yahweh Shum Yahushua set it up, man. You know? You put two against two. Get that real quick. Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach, chapter 33, verse 14. It says, good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. Now, truth be told, we are all sinners, you know, but the ones that are godly are the ones that have this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding and move according to the mind of Yahweh Shah, man. And are at one with the mind, meaning that they're in agreement with Yahweh Shah, man. You know? It says, so look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another. Yeah, the Most High, which now is in my spirit to say the one above all, you know, which is Yahweh, man. Now, I know that's a comic book character, but that was inspired by the Heavenly Father, the one above all, man. You know, the most powerful, the omnipotent. You know? Which is starting to wind. And I don't need, I think this laptop, it's on its last leg from Satan getting mad and causing it to fall. So I'm gonna try to get as close and as observant as possible. So going to the book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 1, it says, if ye then be risen with Hamashiach, right? Seek those things which are above. So we're seeking the things that are above, that's in the kingdom, man. You know, even though we're in the kingdom already amongst us, you know, the kingdom of heaven is gonna, what does it say? I'm trying to quote it verbatim. For lack of better words, come down from heaven, man. You know, which that's the election, you know, that survived America's destruction, that are going to come down from the chariots, man. Right? It says, where Hamashiach sitteth on the right hand of Yahweh, set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. Right? Because things in this world is going to pass away, man, because they're corruptible, man. You know, your cars, your houses, your spouses, your desires, your lust, your wants, your needs, your job. You know, the feeling that you get when the police get behind you, man. You know, all that is going to pass away. It says, for ye are dead and your life is hid with Hamashiach in Yahweh, man. And we are dead to this world, man. And our life is hid, man. You know, we're, for the most part, at least I am, we're more recluse. You know, solitary. You know, to ourselves. You know, the only person I really talk to is a few, you know, women and, you know, my father, man. You know, so we do live a solitary life. Going to the next scripture. This is Proverbs chapter 18, verse 10. It says the name of Yahweh is a strong tower. Right, but you can know the name. A lot of niggas know the name, but do they really believe in those names, man? You know, you see niggas screaming Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai and getting their car window broke out by the police and drugged out, put in handcuffs and sent to jail, man. You know, if you believe in those names, you're going to walk accordingly. You know, but ultimately, you have to be of the elect, man. Because the Most High, he's only coming back for the elect, man. The elect men, women, and children. Right? It says the righteous runneth into it and is safe. So that's what we're going to lean on, man. We're not going to lean on our own might. We're not going to lean on our own strength. We're going to lean on the strength of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, man. You know? We're going to stand firm in the faces of our enemies, man. Because we're leaning on that strength. We're going to stand firm knowing that the unseen world is there, man. Because we're leaning on that strength. You know, now that's not to say that we're putting ourselves in harm's way on purpose. But if it just so happens that our paths are directed to a position of being harmed, right? We're going to lean on the strength of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, man. And that's because of faith. The only way you can have faith is you got to go through hell, man. You got to go through adversity and be built up and your faith built up. You know? So going back to Psalms, chapter 91, verse 2, it says, I will say of Yahweh, he is my refuge and my fortress, my power, in him will I trust. Right. So you got to trust in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, man. So let's see some words real quick. He that dwelleth, I believe it's a Yashar. One who sits, remains, abides, not a visitor. Satar, secret place, Satar. Hidden, covert, shelter. Most High, Yahweh, the one above all powers. The one above all, right? Tazael, shade, protection, covering. Almighty, Shijah, the all-sufficient, all-powerful. And you got to believe that, man. You know, little AI commentary says this isn't a generic God loves everybody psalm. It's covenant protection for those who actually dwell in Yahweh. Obedience, fear, and faith, not lip service. And you do that by actions, man. You show love through actions, man. You know, and I wasn't going to come out here today. But the Most High sent me a dream like 3 or 4 hours ago getting, you know, I was with Apostle Tahar and Yashawan from Fresno, and one of the tall brothers from the Connecticut camp, he was driving, you know, and we were going through scriptures, and I was trying to bring a scripture out, and you know, my book was all beat up, and I was like, yeah, because I've been in it. And then I couldn't bring it out of the book, so I went to get it out of the phone, and the phone was fucking up. I was like, yeah, hold on, I gotta fucking do a promise to pay shit. And then that didn't work, so Apostle Tahar dropped my ass off at an electronics store to get my shit together, you know. And then when I woke, other things happened in that dream I'm not going to expound on, but I woke up and I was like, yeah, man, that's you saying that you don't want to go out today to get your ass up out there, man. Go charge your fucking phone because it's dead. Go charge your laptop because that motherfucker's dead, and get your ass up out there, man. You know? That was Yahweh Hashem Yahushua's way of telling me, here's the strength that you need, you know? So verse 3, it says, surely he will deliver thee from the snare, which a snare is a trap, man. And we see the traps that this damn devil is trying to set, man. You know? Of the fowler, which a fowler is a bird catcher, man. You know, but aside from catching birds, he catches men. You know, and even dealing with the, what do you call, the atmosphere, maybe, of what's going on right now with ICE. You know, what's going on with them trying to set up a psyop with a low security banquet for, you know, the president of the United States to potentially get assassinated. You know, we all know that's a psyop to come against, you know, the children of Israel, man. Because I worked at this Google convention here in Las Vegas, and it had so much security there, man. You had to go through metal detectors. They damn near wanted to pat you down. They looking all in your toolbox, you know, coming in and coming out, right? So how come he didn't have that security and he's the president of the United States? You gotta have wristbands, you know. You only got access to certain areas. You know, how come he didn't have that type of security, man? You know? So we know that's a psyop, man. We know that was bullshit, right? It says it from the noise and pestilence, right? The noise and pestilence, which I'm gonna get this word noisome in the Etma Online, late 14th century, noisome, harmful, noxious, harm, misfortune, annoyance. And you know, pestilence goes back to disease, man. Which they're talking about unleashing a deadly disease to kill a lot of you people, man. And that's coupled with the bioweapons that they're gonna release. And you hear stories about how they mishandle certain deadly pathogens, and seeing biolabs, right, that are unauthorized all throughout the United States. There was even one close to the city that I was living in, which was Fresno. There was even one in maybe a city about 35, 40 minutes away called Tulare, man, which they found the biolab, which, you know, that's just because they found it, man, right? So there's going to be a lot of plague, a lot of epidemics, sweeping disease, Just like you saw in 2020, man, which that was a psyop, man. Coming out, even JRFK, he even said that that was gene specific. You know? It says, he shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. Right. And, you know, what's his feathers? This is Isaiah chapter 6, verse 1. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also Yahweh sitting upon a throne high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. So the angels are going to be protecting the elect, man. Going back to Psalms 91, and I'm going to jump down to verse 11 real quick to bring the point. It says, for he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. Right, going back to the unseen world, man. And also, you could equate the feathers and wings to the chariots, man. Because those chariots, the so-called UFOs, which stands for unidentifiable flying object, or UAPs, which stands for unidentified aerial phenomenon, those are going to protect the elect that get extracted from America out of that nuclear destruction, man. Going back to Psalms chapter 91, verse 4, says, his truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Right. So this truth is going to be thy shield and buckler. Now, a lot of people got the truth, man. You know, a lot of people have or think or perceive that they have the truth, which really, you know, you got to break it down to the least common denominator, which goes into, are you the elect or not, man? Because there's a lot of people that know that they're Israelites. Hell, I was going back to working at the convention. There was an individual that was talking to me about someone or figure that thought that they were in the truth, which was Guerrilla Hebrew, man. And long story short, he has an ill name, man. Even among these people that are outside of the congregation, man. He has an ill name for his handling of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh's word, man. Even the group Genesis, man. You know, which obviously took a bag and are false prophets. You know? Verse 5. It says, thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night. Because everybody knows that experience homelessness, they know that the most dangerous time is at night, man. You know? That's why you see them sleeping in the daytime. That's why when you venture out at night, you see them out and about. Because that's the most dangerous time, man. You got to be aware. And not too long ago, you had some individual going around killing the homeless, man. They deemed him to be a so-called serial killer, which, because his life was dilapidated, for lack of better words, he decided he was going to take it out on everybody else, man. He was going to become a serial killer, which you people in America, you're not no, well, at least in these times, you're not really no serial killer because you use guns, man. A serial killer is someone that gets up close and personal. He sometimes dissects his victims. He tortures them. He strangles them. You know, he wants to feel their life force leave their body, man. That's my definition of a serial killer, not no scary cat that shoots with his eyes closed, man. You know? That individual is just somebody that's a shooter. You know, he's putting in gun work. You know, but even at that, the Most High, he's going to resurrect these spirits of vengeance upon you people, man. To start taking you out. You know? It says, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. And that arrow that flieth by day, you're seeing it in full force over there on the Eastern Hemisphere, man. In the Middle East. In parts of Europe. You know, that's the arrow that's flying, whether it be the cruise missile, whether it be the ballistic missile, whether it be the hypersonic missile, whether it be a subsonic munition, whether it be an RPG, and then ultimately the ICBM, man. You know, the Most High has or is gonna put in our spirit not to fear, man. And we don't fear that shit, man. You know, they could start doing hypersonic missile strikes on this city right now, man. It would be an easy thought to put the hurt on a place called Sin City, man. You know, where it's nothing but degeneracy. You know? It says, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness. Right? The disease, the plagues, the bacteria. You know, the amoeba, if that's how you say it, man. Those things that will kill you because you can't see it. The toxic gases. I was watching a safety meeting in OSHA 10, you know, and there was a truck that crashed and it had a toxic chemical in it and it was releasing that gas. And the dumbass cop was trying to run and rush to save the truck driver, and he ended up getting killed, man. You know? But Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, he's going to protect his elect from all those things, which he controls. You know? It says, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. Noonday is at the peak of this man's system. That noonday destruction is when those missiles rain upon his ass, man. Those thermonuclear missiles. You know? The Most High said he's going to protect his elect from those things. He's going to extract them into the chariots within the twinkling of an eye, man. Their bodies are going to be changed into immortal bodies, extraterrestrial bodies. So that plague, which is a plague, is one of his plagues, is not gonna hurt them. Right? So going back to co-pilot, the word for deliver, na tazal, to snatch away, rescue, pull out. Snare, pa'ak, bird trap, hidden device. Fowler, Yaka'ash, trap lair, hunter. You know, and you have to equate that to Esau because he's the ultimate hunter and he lays traps all the time, man. Even for you YNs, man, he'll leave an open car with hella merchandise in it just to see if you're gonna steal it, man, and trap you up, put you in the system, label you a felon, you know, because he's the damn devil, he's the deceiver, man. And he does that after he done stole the world's resources. He stole the world's resources that they need in order to survive. And so when they rise up against that oppression, he sits there and acts stupid about it. Like, why don't you just pull yourself up by your bootstraps? That's the IMO of this damn devil, man. The MO of this damn devil. Modus operandi. Which the Most High, he gonna squash this damn devil like a bug, man. Especially for what he did to his son, because they were the Romans, man. They're the ones that put Yahushua to death. And did the things that, he suffered to him, man. And of course, you wicked niggas gave him up to receive that death, man. All because you wanted to experience that society that eventually got destroyed anyway, man. It got burnt down to the ground. And then, on top of that, he scattered you all throughout the four corners of the earth and then put you in hardcore slavery, man. And then you have the nerve to say that there ain't no God. The word noise and pestilence, hava plus the bar, or haya, the Yiddish characters are small. They didn't put it in the Lashon Kodash. It says plague, epidemic, sweeping disease. The word that they have for hava, I'm just going to say it in Yiddish. Mischief, calamity, ruin. A lot of you people going to start losing your houses, man. A lot of you people going to start getting your cars repossessed. A lot of you people are griping about paying these car notes. Which these are conversations I hear amongst, the workers. So they say things are so expensive that they just take the bus. Which out here, I believe the bus is like $4 on a one-way. So it's getting hard for a lot of you, man. The word for terror by night, mepakad layla, dread, panic in the dark. Arrow by day, ma kataza ya ayamam. Well, I'd rather not. I'd rather it be in Lashon Kodash, man. So I'm not gonna say the Hebrew word anymore. It says flying arrow by extension, projectiles, missiles. Pestilence that walketh in darkness, unseen, creeping plague. Destruction that wasteth at noonday, cutting off, wasting, sudden ruin. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Verse 21, it says, Yahweh shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee. And that's what's been happening to us as a people under these curses. But even so, more at these times when this is the last hoorah for a lot of these spirits on the left-hand side, man. To jack up you Israelites. So they're going to be at their full perfection, man. That's why it's not going to be millions of people dying. It's going to be billions. It says, Yahweh shall make the pestilence, which is the disease, dis-ease in your body, cleave unto thee like a barnacle on a well, until he have consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it. Yahweh shall smite thee with the consumption, and with the fever, and with a inflammation, and with the extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. And that's the reason why, the people on this song lead every single category, man, that the CDC publishes. And it's all through the Spirit. Going to Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 1, it says, the word of Yahweh that came to Jeremiah concerning the dearth, which the dearth meaning the drought. In California experienced a very significant drought, about 1.5 decades ago, man, which cost me that plant job, which I didn't like that job anyway, man. So it was all good, but, I'm not going to say there wasn't any benefits from it, because I learned a lot about agriculture. I learned a lot about plants. I learned a lot about annuals and perennials and succulents, trees, herbs, fruits, vegetables, how to plant, what plants need acidic soil. Certain plants need different pH levels in their soil. So I learned a lot from it, man. I learned the spirit of a lot of what certain nations like. But the Most High, he's going to send dearth. He's going to send drought. He's going to add to that famine, man. Even on top of what's going on in the Middle East, dealing with the fertilizer, man. A lot of people are going to die of hunger, man. A lot of people are going to die of thirst. It says Yahweh, which means Yahweh thanks, which is you so-called Negroes, mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black onto the ground. So they're likened onto being black onto the ground, man. Due to the famine, man. Because dark-skinned people get darker, man. Because they're malnourished. And you see that in the continent of Acham, which is Ham, which today they call it after the Roman general Leo Scipio Africanus. It says, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. And you people are going to be crying, man. Especially you people that live in these ghettos, man. Which ghetto means where the Jews dwell. Those so-called Jews, they don't live in no ghettos. They live in plush places in the cities, plush places in the states, plush places in these countries, man. And coddled. And giving free helicopter money, man. And get reparations. Further proving that they're not the real people. This is Satan. And they're thinking in their feeble mind that wearing black represents them being famished or being in a state of mourning. They're not in mourning, man. They could do whatever the hell they want and get away with it, man. And you see that. Say Matthew chapter 24, verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And we're seeing that as well right now on the world stage. Nation rising against nation and kingdom against kingdom, man. And that's all part of this process of decapitating this damn devil, man. You know, as he's gearing up to try to do a mock alien invasion, that's why he's killing all these people. Or not, well, yeah, he's killing them, but he's saying that they're committing suicide. You know, dealing with those that are in astronomy, that study UFOs and things of that nature. You know, which most of those studies are a bunch of bullshit, man. Because they want you to believe that there's aliens, man, which really those are the angels, man. Whether they be on the left hand or the right hand side, man. You know? Because they want the whole world to be against the Messiah on his return. Because the real Messiah, he's a so-called black man. He has pigment. He has melanin. You know, not these figures that he sets up for the world to worship that are cursed with biblical leprosy, man. Where you have patches of white in your skin, which could form and spread to cover your whole body. Or you have a yellow thin hair, man, which another word or synonym for yellow is blonde. You know? And they're not depicting how Yahushua actually looked when he was on that cross, man. They don't want you to see the savagery of those Romans, which were Edomites, man. And I'm pretty sure, based on that dream I had the other day, man, that day when everyone goes to worship Yahushua and he puts on that body that he had, and you feel the sorrow and you feel those emotions, and then you start to feel anger, and anger proceeds to hate. You know, I don't know if it's going to be the next moment or that day or the next day, but we're going to kill a lot of you fucking Edomites, man. That's the feeling that I had. I was saying, man, they did all that, man. I want to kill these motherfuckers. So the judgment of you living in slavery for 1,000 years and then exterminated, the judgment is right on point, man. It's not excessive. It's not overkill. The 200 million missiles to hit this place is not excessive. It's not overkill. It's righteous judgment, man. It says, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. The word diverse meaning various, man. You know? It says all these are the beginning of sorrows. And we're in the beginning of sorrows, man. We're in the time of Jacob's trouble, man. And it's going to get worse and worse. You got to keep your head on a swivel out here anyway. Going to AI commentary, bioweapons, pandemics. The word Deber doesn't care whether the plague is natural or engineered. Its focus is on scope and judgment. In a world of lab leaks, engineered pathogens, and dual-use research, Psalms 91 frames pestilence as something Yahweh can filter. It may pass through a city, but not necessarily through every house. Right. No, I never got the COVID, but a lot of the people in my family did. You know? Some of my friends did. Well, ex-friends. You know? A lot of brothers that, you know, when I watched their videos, you know, they didn't get the COVID. says, pestilence that walketh in darkness fits unseen, aerosolized, or waterborne threats, things you can't see but that move through population silently. And it's a very easy thing for them to poison the water, man, which the water is already poisoned. The water is recycled. You drink the same water that you piss and shit in, man. That animals and humans die in. It goes to a water treatment plant where they put a whole bunch of chemicals in that shit, man. You know, I learned that growing up through a show or Bring a Parent in elementary, man. You know, the water ain't nothing but recycled shit water, man. Same with certain of these water brands, these water companies. They're not using water from natural resources, man. Like Aquafina. Aquafina is municipal water, man. You know, and certain water makes my stomach hurt, man. It makes me have diarrhea, man. You know, the only water that really doesn't is the Crystal Geyser, which they're probably gonna fuck that up too. You know, but you go and ain't no water that you drink is the same. It don't taste the same. It don't move through your body the same. It don't rehydrate the same. If you want to do your own little experiment, do your own little experiment. I even had that Saratoga water. It's okay. You know, a Fuji, you know, I like the taste of Fuji, but I don't drink it like that. You know, my main, go-to is Crystal Geyser, man. Because, like I said, a lot of this water makes me sick. Because really, it's just shit water. You're supposed to get water from a lively source with flowing water. And they're retrieving this water from stagnant sources, man. And just putting it through a process, what they call osmosis. And filtering. It says, arrow that fly by day easily overlays with modern projectiles, bullets, missiles, drones, even hypersonic weapons. Visible conflict, open war. Breakouts and cyber terror implied. Yeah, they're going to be doing cyber warfare. That's going to shut the power down, man. Shut the power off. And you people are not going to fare well when the power is shut off for excessive amount of time, man. Most of you will probably last but 3 days if the power is shut off. Because when they shut the power off, they're going to have it shut off for, weeks at a time, man. If not more. The test run is going to be what's going to happen over there in, places like Israel or places like Iran or those different Gulf states. How they fare when their power is shut off, man. Which you already see what's going on there in Venezuela. Which you heard was happening there, or even in Cuba, man. Which that's America's version of a attempted siege to genocide. It says terror by night in modern grid dependent world includes grid attacks, cyber warfare, electromagnetic pulse style events, social breakdown when lights, comms, and surveillance go dark. The psalm doesn't deny that terror exists. It promises a different eternal response for those dwelling in Yahweh. Thou shalt not be afraid. Right, because for all you know, the Most High could have, the elect's lights still on, while everybody is living in darkness, just as in Martazarian or Mizraim, which today they ignorantly call ancient Egypt. Oh, and by the way, about that dream, I had this before I came out here. It was Psalms 91 that was one of the scriptures that I was supposed to get. So I'm out here reading and breaking down Psalms 91. So going back to Psalms 91, verse 7, it says, 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee, which this is twofold, man. Because it's going to happen before, and it's going to happen after. The after is when we're in the chariots. And we're looking down, well, I shouldn't say we, I should say when the elect are in the chariots, and they're looking down at the destruction around them, man. Out of the windows of the chariots. And then it's also going to happen before, when all these dead bodies are in the streets, man. And they don't have the personnel to go out and bury them, man. Let me get a quick preset. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 9. For the Most High have not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Adonai Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. So, if you are the elect, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua didn't appoint you to wrath, man. That's why he says, only with your eyes shall you see, man. Only with your eyes shall you see the reward. Well, hold on. Jumping the gun. Verse 7 again, it says, 1,000 shall fall, Psalms chapter 91, verse 7. It says, 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thy eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, man. And the wicked is all you that are tied into Esau's philosophies, man. Because Esau, he is the wicked. Edom are the sons of the wicked. And you are joined in hand. You Israelites, you wicked Israelites, you ones that fell for and drunk the Kool-Aid, man. The Jim Jones juice. You're wicked, man. This is Isaiah chapter 13. Verse 11. It says, and I will punish the world for their evil and their wicked for their iniquity. Iniquity is sins upon sins, right? And the law was only given to the people on this side, so technically they're the only ones that can manufacture sin, which means to break the law of the Heavenly Father, man. And now since Esau has ascribed the law unto himself and says that he's a part of that covenant, it applies to him as well. And he's going to get judged, as he should, and as he will. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease. The proud is you damn devil, you Edomites. Now, it doesn't matter if you got light complexion or you have no pigment and you look like you're a so-called white man. You know? It matters about what spirit dwells in you. These nations have spirits that are associated with that nation, man. And because of the intermingling and mixing, you know, these spirits could look like these other nations. You know? So it doesn't matter what color skin you are. You could be a black Edomite. You could be a Mexican Edomite. You could be an Asian Edomite. You could be an East Indian Edomite, man. You could be an African Edomite. It matters what spirit dwells in you, man. It says, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible, which is you Edomites. And how do you exert your terribleness? Through your military, man. Your perceived military might, which we're starting to see that you're just a paper tiger, man. It's kind of like when I, playing, when I had it, because I don't got it right now. When I was playing Madden, I used to write all my teams out, man. And they had 80s, 90s, 85s, 92s, 93s, making super teams. And they never went to the Super Bowl, man. They were just paper tigers. When it came time to perform, they were lacking. And that's what you're seeing going on there in that war with Iran, man. And you're starting to see the true nature of these damn devils by, the chief, Donald J. Trump. Nothing but a scumbag, a liar, a pedo, an SA'er, a felon, an extortioner, a bullshitter. That's all these damn devils, man. That's why even their women are tired of him, man. Got like, 6 women walking, 8 women walking with no man. And they're all Edomite women. Dressed real nice, real modest. And that's why a lot of them, they like Jake, man. I just dumped the Edomite woman, man. Because she trying to be like a nigga. She trying to move. Well, she probably might be a Jake. But she moving too niggerish, man. And I'm trying to, set her up so she can get her shit together. But she just want to be, do her thing. The THANG. And plus, she's a liability, man. A lot of these women, they put their men in dire situations, man. Because they're liabilities, and I refuse, man. So I had to cut her loose. Verse 12, it says, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place. And that's dealing with that destruction, that nuclear destruction. In the wrath of Yahweh of hosts, which hosts meaning armies, and in the day of his fierce anger. Yeah, in the day of his fierce anger, man. Which we're in that day, man. But the crowning jewel is when those missiles, those ICBMs start to fly, man. This is Revelation chapter, and you even hear these world leaders talking about nobody should use nuclear weapons. You know what that means? You know what the N-word means? It will mean everybody dies. Well, not everybody's gonna die. But the Most High don't give a shit about your sentiment. He wants those missiles to fly. Revelation chapter 18, verse 8, therefore shall plagues come in one day. Yeah, so that ICBM destruction is going to come in one day, man. Death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahweh who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication, which is spiritual adultery, you know, they want it to be just like America. They want it to be Americanized, man. They wanted to do everything that was contrary to those godly principles. Right? And live deliciously with her because they wanted the wealth. They wanted to be a part of the wealth, which really they just wanted their resources back, man. Because Esau went and stole everybody's resources and became wealthy, and these nations in poverty, they wanted some of that wealth. They wanted to live good, man. Shall bewail her and lament for her, meaning they're going to be crying and sobbing and tearing, and because of what? Because they're not going to be able to make any money. That's the only reason, man. They're not going to be able to go to places like this city and be a freak. When they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, destroyed, destroyed that great city, America. That mighty city, the number one superpower. For in 1 hour is thy judgment come. It's only going to take an hour for this place to be destroyed, man. They ain't never going to make America great again. This is Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. It says, and Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, which encompasses the whole from east to west, north to south, man. I know I did it wrong with my hands, but you get the gist of it, man. Of the entirety of America, right? Through the midst of Jerusalem, which Israel is a people before it's a place. And right now, the true Israelites don't live in Israel today. I mean, you have some still there, but the mass majority, all 12 tribes, they don't live there. They live here in America, man. And set a mark, which that mark going into the Hebrew, the Ra, which means exemption from judgment, man. Which that's only going to be given to the elect. Upon the foreheads of the men that sigh in that cry for all the abominations, wicked acts, that be done in the midst thereof. And to the others, the ones that are with the program that love being a degenerate, Hillary Clinton said deplorable. And to the others he said in my hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. So there's going to be angels assigned to kill you niggas, man. You know? Let not your eyes spare, neither had ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children, and women. A lot of you women are going to get put down like the dogs you are, man. You ain't going to be able to call 911, man. You know, you ain't going to be able to get a white knight to come and save you, man. You know? You either get pipe or you get a lead pipe. There ain't gonna be no in between. It says, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark. Going back to how the elect are going to be protected by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, man. Ba'ashem Harachach Wadash. He's going to give the angels charge over you. There's an unseen world around us. There's demons around us, man. There's angels around us. It can't be on no seeing is believing, man. You got to believe without seeing. It says to begin at my sanctuary. Begin at those that know that they're Israelites, man. Which there's a lot of individuals that know that they're Israelites that are wicked as a motherfucker, man. And they love this world. They love this place. That's why when you gripe and you mourn and you're vexed of this world, they look at you crazy. The fuck is this guy's problem, man? Because they living it up. They good. They love it here, man. They get to shout Kwam Yasha Allah and that's right. They get to, you know, twiddle their thumb and pray and hope that can't hurry up and end so they can go to a fellowship. Got a lot of these niggas out here, man. That's why I say the true marker is see who, if you really about this, you really about Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Just like Apostle Tahar said way back in the day. If you really think Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harachach Wadash is dealing with you, see if you could do the work on your own. And me, being who I am, I don't like wasting nobody's time, man. So, you know, I took that word up. No? And I could honestly say, man, I guess the Most High is dealing with me. Because it's been, what, 13 years? Since I was in GMS, 3 years in GMS, so 16 years being in this truth. Hey, man, the Wadi Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, he deserves all the glory, and I hope it's used to glorify his name, man. I hope it's used to glorify his name. Whatever feats I do, I hope it's used to glorify his name, man. Because if you had the dream that I had, man, you gotta, it's everything for him, man. And the Wadi Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai for directing my steps out here today. It says, then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. You know, so a lot of you wicked Israelites are going to be put to death, man. Key words or key ideas for the word fall. Now, pa'al, to fall, collapse, be overthrown. Which goes back to Psalms 91 and the 7th verse. It says the text assumes mass casualty events, war, plague, famine, or combined crises. Which that's what you're going to see, you know, in these times. And that's what you see when you watch the news, man. Only with thy eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. It says you witness judgment. You're not exempt from seeing it, but you're covered from being swept away by it. So the elect are not going to get swept away by this judgment that is coming upon this place. And that's already here in certain pockets of the world, man. AI commentary, the language fits large-scale war, trenches, bomb cities, nuclear or conventional strikes where thousands die in a single theater. And how many of them Palestinians just recently got taken out, man? Thousands, tens of thousands. Even on Iran. In America, they suppressed the number, but they're hit. What hit ticker is in the thousands, man. And those bases in the land of Syria are destroyed, man. It also fits layered crisis, war plus famine plus disease, where systems collapse and casualties multiply. The promise is not that you'll never see horror. It's that covenant protection can make you an outlier in the statistics. And that's only going to be afforded to, as I keep saying, the elect, man. The Bakiyar. This is Psalms chapter 91, verse 9. It says, because thou hast made Yahweh, which is my refuge, which this is David talking. He said he made Yahweh his refuge. Even the Most High thy habitation. He's saying it to you. You know, so we got to make Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem HaRachakodash our refuge, our habitation. Be at one in agreement with him and believe and trust in him. Here comes Satan, starting to blow that wind again. It says, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. Right? So if you trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem HaRachakodash, shall no evil befall thee, man. Neither a plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. And that's why it's so important to pray, man. How many of you even pray? Because when you pray and you have a pattern of your prayers being answered, you start to I'll say, exhibit a certain boldness. You know, you start to exhibit a certain lack of fear toward anything other than Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, man. Which that doesn't mean you go around and tempting Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua either. I'm not saying that. But you ain't gonna, you have that faith that, okay, he delivered me out of this, he's gonna deliver me out of this. What is it called? Pro quo something? This or that? It says, they shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Right, and that's what Satan was trying to tempt Yahushua with, man. You know? And that goes into not tempting Yahushua. Not tempting Yahweh. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, which an adder is a snake. Could be a rattlesnake, could be a black mamba. You might even go and get dropped off in Snake Island. Right? It ain't gonna matter. It doesn't matter. Quoting The Rock. Because I see a lot of those reels on Instagram, man. I used to love watching wrestling and shit, even though, my favorite character was the Lord of Darkness. But, he even says in the Bible that Yahweh dwells in darkness, man. And then they just had WrestleMania out here a week or so ago, which I had to work. It says, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Right. Quick precept. This is Hebrews chapter 1, verse 14. It says, are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister for them who shall be heirs of salvation? Right? Which are the messengers, man. The angels. This is the book of Luke, chapter 10, verse 19. It says, behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy. So over all the power of the enemy. And I used to get rebuked when I said I wanted to use spiritual powers and take Esau's gun from him and use it on him. Use the, was not touching the gun, but levitating the gun and having the gun go off on him. And that's the same thing Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is gonna do with the waster, man. That was something that Esau concocted, but really it was Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, just as the gun. But I was labeled being carnal and all this other shit, man. We're going to have power over our enemies, man. With spiritual powers. That don't mean we're going to get guns and knives and bats and brass knuckles. We're going to be able to use this. And really, it's not us using this. It's the angels that are aiding us. says, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. So nothing by any means shall hurt the elect, man. Notwithstanding in this, rejoice not that the spirits are subject unto you, but rather rejoice because your names are written in heaven. And that's what I hope that I'm blessed enough to have, which is my name written in heaven, man. Which that's, you know, the elect, their names are written in heaven. This is St. Mark chapter 16, verse 17. It says, and these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name shall they cast out devils. Right. And I've experienced that a lot of times, man, using and believing in those names and casting out demons and devils, or even putting curses on people, man. And then, you know, sometimes the Yahweh Shem Yahweh would allow those prayers to manifest, you know, which end up increasing my faith, man. They shall speak with new tongues. Yeah, the Lashuan Tahar, the pure language. They shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. Right, and that's something that I'm personally, if I'm of the elect and if I receive spiritual power, is looking forward to. I'm looking forward to healing people, man. To heal the underdog, to heal the downtrodden, to heal the overlooked, to heal the one that is depressed or in torment or in trauma. You know, the ones that are deserving. So going to key Hebrew words, habitation, I'm not going to attempt it, but the meaning is dwelling, lair, permanent residence. The word for angels means his messengers. The word for charge, command, appoint, order. The word for bear thee up means to lift or carry. The word for dash thy foot means to strike, stumble, be smitten. The word for lion, fierce lion, adder, venomous snake, dragon, sea monster, dragon, great serpent, or great reptile. So going to AI commentary, it says spirits and lions are both literal and symbolic. Literal, venom, wild beasts, zoonotic diseases. Symbolic, predatorial systems, deceptive doctrines, oppressive regimes. In a bioweapon context, serpent imagery fits stealth, injection, and poison. Things that enter the body quietly but kill loudly. It says angelic charge suggests unseen counter operations. So that's what Yahweh Shem Yahushua is gonna do. It's gonna be unseen counter operations, man. That's gonna happen to certain people while all you other people get put to death, man. You're gonna be dying out here in the Civil War and the famine and World War III, etc., etc. And all your pride is gonna go right out the window, man. It says exposures, you never get accidents. that never happened because something blocked it upstream. You know? So going back to Psalms, somebody keep fucking hitting my shit. Hope it's a young little tender. Shit. Going back to Psalms chapter 91 verse 14, it says, because he has set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. And my whole thing is, if I can't serve you, if I'm not of your elect, then just put me to death, man. I don't want to be a part of the problem, man. I want to be a part of the solution. You know? And I'm a person that hates failure. And I refuse to fail. Especially now after that dream, man, I wish other brothers have will receive that same dream and boost their faith up all the way through the roof, man. And realize, man, what they're here for. It says, therefore will I deliver him, I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. Right. And this is Jeremiah. I got to kind of speed it up because the battery's dying. This is Jeremiah. No, Slakia. This is John. Chapter 17, and I'll start at the top. It says, these words spake Yahweh Shai and lifted up his eyes to heaven and said, Yahweh, the hour is come, glorify thy Son, that thy Son also may glorify thee. So he glorified his Father, Yahweh, and really technically he's the one that created us, so it's our time and our turn to glorify him, Yahweh Shai, man. And he's worthy. As thou hast given him power over all flesh, that he should give eternal life to as many as thou hast given him. Slakia. As thou hast given him power over all flesh, that he should give eternal life to as many as thou hast given him. And this is life eternal, immortality, that they might know thee, the only true power, and Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, whom thou hast sent. I have glorified thee on the earth. I have finished the work which thou gavest me to do. And now, O Yahweh, glorify thou me with thy own self, with the glory which I had with thee before the world was. I have manifested my name unto the men which thou gavest me out of the world. Thine they were, and thou gavest them me, and they have kept thy word. Now they have known that all things whatsoever thou hast given me are of thee. For I have given unto them the words which thou givest me, and they have received them, and have known surely that I came out from thee, and they had believed that thou didst send me. I pray for them, I pray not for the world. So you people of the world ain't getting prayed for. But for them which thou hast given me, for they are thine, and all mine are thine, and thine are mine, and I am glorified in them. And now I am no more in the world, but these are in the world, and I come to thee. Holy Father, keep through thy own name those whom thou hast given me, that they may be one as we are, in agreement. While I was with them in the world, I kept them in thy name. Those thou gavest me I have kept, and none of them is lost, but the son of perdition, which is Judas Iscariot, that the scripture might be fulfilled. And now come I to thee, and these things I speak in the world, that they might have my joy fulfilled in themselves. I have given them thy word, and the world hath hated them, because they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world, but that thou shouldest keep them from the evil. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is thy truth. As thou hast sent me into the world, even so have I also sent them into the world. And for their sakes I sanctify myself, that they also might be sanctified through the truth. Neither pray I for these alone, but for them also which shall believe on me through their word, that they all may be one, as thou, Father, art in me, and I in thee, that they also may be one in us, that the world may believe that thou hast sent me. And the glory which thou gavest me I have given them, that they may be one, even as we are one. I in them, and thou in me, that they may be made perfect in one, and that the world may know that thou hast sent me, and hast loved them, and thou hast loved me. Father, I will that they also, whom thou hast given me, be with me where I am, that they may behold my glory, which thou hast given me, for thou lovest me before the foundation of the earth, before the foundation of the world. Salakia. O righteous Yahweh, the world have not known thee, but I have known thee, and these have known that thou hast sent me, and I have declared unto them thy name, and will declare it, that the love wherewith thou hast loved me may be in them, and I in them. This is Romans. That was a heavy verse. Chapter 10, verse 13, it says, for whosoever shall call upon the name of Yahweh shall be saved. This is Proverbs chapter 3, verse 16. It says, length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor, which is dealing with wisdom, man, which is has a feminine spirit, which the word wisdom is a Greek word, which means Sophia. So going back to AI real quick, it says the condition is love plus obedience plus name, love that clings, knowledge of the true name and character of Yahweh, calling upon him in trouble, not just in comfort. The reward is not just survival, it's honor and a front row seat to his salvation. And due to the laptop being power battery level low, you know, I hope that at least one brother of the elect was edified, and I'm going to say shalom.